on voice recording just in case something happens with the video. So, Taurus, anybody who's emailed me for free readings, I will get back to you. Those are free readings. They are not paid readings. Paid readings I turn around automatically. But I've been extremely busy and I have not gotten a chance to get to the free readings. But I will get to the free readings shortly. So please keep that in mind. I understand you guys want those readings back. For a paid reading, check out my website that I'll have in the description below, and I will get back to you guys. So let's get this done. This is a mini reading for the mid to the end of October going into November. And I'm not going to make it too long. I'm going to try to make this really quick. I wanted them to be like 10 minutes or less. My last one was like 20 minutes. But I'm going to try to just go through some important astrological things that are happening this month, just one or two, and then we'll just hop into the cards that are on the table. So Taurus, Jupiter is going to be moving into Scorpio, and for you that's going to be your opposite sign. If you are a Taurus rising, horoscopes are always general. General astrology is always general because it assumes that your sun sign is your rising sign. So it's going to assume that Taurus is your rising sign. However, I'm sure there are many of you more that do not have Taurus as your rising than those that do have Taurus as your rising. It depends on the time you were born. But because I don't have everybody's times they were born, and we can't do that in a general reading, we'll speak about general astrology. So assuming that Taurus is your rising sign and you do not have any intercepted houses, Scorpio for you is going to fall in your 7th house. So I feel like the Jupiter and moving into Scorpio. Jupiter is a benefic planet. It's a good planet. It governs expansion, luck, enterprise, moving into higher realms of understanding and deep spiritual nature and discovery, higher knowledge and wisdom. It is good things. It brings good things with those. And even though it's making an opposition aspect, an opposition is not always easy. It's reflecting something back to you. It's like looking in the mirror. Because Jupiter is a benefic planet, I feel like anything that you reflect on and anything that mirrors you from your 7th to your 1st house, to your ascendant house, your 1st house, it is going to be, even if you go through some challenges and some rough times with your with the things that are going on with the Scorpio house and the energy that the Scorpio house brings and the energy that Jupiter going into the Scorpio house is going to bring, I think that you're going to come out in a good place on the other end of it. So you could be making some enterprising business decisions. You could see yourself really reflecting deeply about partnerships, current partnerships, directions you want to go in, cleaning up things from the past, what you've been through in the past. I think you're going to have some really deep introspective thoughts and feelings into everything having to do with partnerships and relationships between yourself and the outer world, between yourself and your material values, the things that you have materially, your place in the world, what it takes for you to have security that you're happy with, for you to have relationships with yourself, your possessions, with people that you're happy with, and you go really deep to transform those things, to fix things, and you're going to go deep within inside yourself to bring about a change in your life, your material life, and your partnerships, because the 7th house rules all partnerships. It rules the things that make you comfortable, luxuries, and just things that you're happy with. That's a Venus house. And it also rules judgments and fairness and equality, with that being the air, the upper element, the higher octave of Venus, with Libra ruling that house. For you, that would be, it's going to natally be in Scorpio. If you're a Taurus rising and you don't have any intercepted houses, Scorpio will be on that 7th, but in the natural zodiac, that is Libra's house, and it's ruled by your ruler as well, Venus. So that's some extra, some added support with Jupiter going there into that 7th house, and Venus naturally ruling that seventh house. Even though if you're a Taurus rising, you're going to have Scorpio on that house cusp. So really, and Scorpio is all about transformation, working through deep emotional feelings, things you don't express, things you may be vulnerable about, but you don't show these vulnerabilities to the world. There are things that you hold inside and you hide inside and you keep inside, and those are going to be some of the things that you're going to be dealing with a spotlight on that seventh house of Scorpio with Jupiter being there. Mercury is also going to be moving into Scorpio, I believe, on the 17th. And that's going to be about communication when it comes to these things. So you may be really communicating, getting in contact with people, clearing up issues, clearing up things, working out some things, looking at the cards on the table. That's how I'm relating to what you may be focused on. I think it's going to be relating to, again, your place in the world, what you've been through in the past relationships, family dynamics, what it's going to take to make you happy. You may have some challenges there when you really go deep to look at things that have transpired, new information that's coming out, and maybe things that are hidden that either someone else didn't know or you didn't know. I really feel like, and it is just proof by the cards on the table. I mean, you wouldn't believe that on the bottom of the spread, so the card kind of looking over the whole spread, is the Hanged Man. Now, I pulled out, this is the Witch's Tarot deck. And it's a new deck that I'm using, so I'm really trying to get familiar with it and use this deck. So I pulled out this deck. I mean, I'm using this deck, but I'm also using the Rider-Waite for clarifiers. And I clarified a few cards in your spread. I didn't really feel like I needed too many clarifiers. So I used the Rider-Waite to clarify 2 cards in your spread. But then I said, let me see what Taurus is really having this deep introspective look with that Scorpio house being highlighted. And let me just say, no matter what house, your ascendant in the astrology, general astrology is based off of your rising sign. And generally it's assumed to be Taurus, but those of you that are born at different times, no matter what your rising sign is, it does change the placement of your houses. So Scorpio may not be on that 8th house, but Jupiter moving into Scorpio and Mercury moving into Scorpio is going to happen in whatever house that it is in your chart. Scorpio is your opposite sign, so it's going to happen in your opposite sign. So no matter what house Scorpio falls in for you, it's going to reflect back into the house of Taurus. Now, your sun might not be in Taurus, but it's going to directly reflect back to Taurus. No matter what planet you have in Taurus, your sun is going to be in Taurus. So no matter where Scorpio is for you, no matter what house is in, and no matter what house Taurus, your sun in Taurus is in, it's going to be in opposition. It's going to reflect back onto the house that your sun is in Taurus, because it's your opposite sign. So the house may change, but the fact that Jupiter and Mercury is going to be in Scorpio, and that's going to reflect and it be a direct mirror back to the house that you have your sun in Taurus in, and that it's going to be something that you're definitely going to feel over the next few months and the next year, with Jupiter being there for a year or so. And I feel like this Hangman card, overlooking the whole spread being on the bottom of the deck, meaning Taurus is really have been holding some things in, and you may even be with peace at those things, but I think Taurus is really been holding some things in and thinking deeply, and is really going to do some soul searching when it comes to things that Taurus knows that you may not have expressed to other people, or other people may not know that you know. Because when I pulled a clarifier on the card overlooking the whole spread, which was the Hangman, when I pulled the Rider-Waite clarifier, guess what card came up? The Hangman. So the Hangman came up to clarify the Hangman. And again, even though the Hangman is said to represent Pisces, Neptune, again, and even the sun, deep thought, going into deep thought, exploring your spiritual path, getting a spiritual understanding of the things that you've been through in your life and where you're going now. I think Taurus is really going to want to ground themselves emotionally and spiritually more. It's also going to have a lot to do, like I said, in that 7th house or wherever it lands for you. It's still going to have to do with your money and your finances. And if it's not particularly monetary, it has to do with your stability and what makes you comfortable and grounded and what makes you secure. Because in the Witch's Tarot, there's a pinnacle on this tree that the Hangman is hanging from. There's no pinnacle on the Rider-Waite deck, but just the fact that the the hangman came out to clarify the hangman's tells me this Jupiter in Scorpio and what's going to be going on for the end of the year through the next year is going to be a very deep time where Taurus is really going to be trying to come at peace with some of the things that's going on, some of the decisions it's made, and about the security in Taurus's life and its spiritual nature, and it really has to do with the self, because the hangman has a lot to do with the sun. It reflects back on the sun, and the sun represents the self, the father. So it has a lot to do with that male energy, and whether you're male or female, reflecting back on the self. You see, there's the sun there, and there's a sun there providing some sort of illumination. The sun is the luminary, and even more hilarious, the tarot cards just never lie. What's even more funny is they both came out right side up. They both came out. They did not come in reverse. And I had my deck sitting right next to each other. So I find it very funny that the hangman came out to clarify the hangman. So that's just a little bit about the astrology. And I know it's going to have to do with your security and work, because we're going to have Venus and Mars moving into Libra. So wherever Libra, if Taurus is your ascendant, Libra is going to be your sixth house. And it may be another house in your zodiac if Taurus is not your ascendant or you have intercepted houses. But just generally speaking, it's going to be your sixth house. So Taurus, you're probably going very spiritually deep to either deal with relationships. I feel like a lot of things that have to do with the past, because I have a card of give and take, which is the Six of Pentacles, and then the Six of Cups. So two sixes on top of each other, with the Six of Cups in reverse, clarifying the Six of Pentacles in reverse. So even if that's a six, I'm just making the connections as I'm talking about this. Those are two sixes, and I just said Venus and Mars are going to be moving into your sixth house. The sixth house is the house of work, health, service, and then you have two sixes. So I think Taurus is going to be very much so concentrated from a deep spiritual Scorpio sort of level about their health, their work, what they do for their work, and even their past, things that have gone on, relationships that have gone on in the past, and what has been fair and not fair. And this could either be between you and another person, or maybe you feel things were fair or not fair to you. Maybe you feel like you were fair or not fair. Maybe you feel like there were some judgments that were not just or not fair, or you didn't get what you deserved or give somebody what they deserve. And it has a lot to do with that past and the emotions that in balance and stability. They have a lot to do with that sixth card being in reverse, and both of those cards in reverse, which means to me you feel like something was not fair. And when it comes to a new beginning, when it comes to home, when it comes to maybe some past relationships or family dynamics, I feel like Taurus, you're really introspectively thinking about those things, because you feel like things are not fair, but you're trying to get a new start, you're trying to get a new beginning. Or you could be feeling like something that's going on in your current is not a fresh start. You can't get away with the past, and you feel like you just can't shake some things, and that's why you're going to be going very deep emotionally to try to clarify and really break away and have a complete new frame of mind, new thought, and new path with the Fool card, because you may have gone through some breakups in the past, some separations. I definitely see some breakups and some separations in the past for Taurus, because again, it's about that past. It's about childhood. You guys could have some childhood emotions and some childhood memories coming up. You could feel like you did not have a good childhood. You did not have a fair childhood. There could have been a male energy in your life that did not give fairly, that was missing. You could have felt like a brother or sister got more than you. You could be going through some family dynamics now, or some issues where you've lost a brother or sister or a family member, or you're going through separation with childhood friends or people in your family, or a lot of things that have to do with the past, and it could be affecting partnerships that you currently have. You could have a partnership where you feel like it's a good one and it's the person for you, or maybe you were feeling like that about your past or somebody in your family. Maybe there's somebody you really cared about, and you're just having issues currently or moving on because of trust issues. I feel like trust really plays a lot in you not being able, or you being able to ground your emotions or not being able to ground your emotions. I feel like that's what you're really going deep on a spiritual level to do, so you can have that new beginning, take new actions, bring about some abundance and creativeness and something new, tangible. Take some tangible action with new partnerships and new opportunities that you have in your life for creativity and fertility and things like that, to really do something different than you did in the past. But you're having some things that you're having a hard time getting over. You're having a hard time getting over some of these things and these inequalities and these unfair situations that you feel like are coming from your past. And that may have a lot to do with this card. I wasn't going to pull, but I ended up seeing it because when I picked up my cards, I thought this was the bottom of the deck, but I left one card on the table, and it was the High Priestess. So I definitely feel like there's some things that Taurus knows that they're not releasing. There's something in your life. Maybe there's something a parent hasn't told you. Maybe there's some information you're finding out about your family secrets and family dynamics that you did not know. Maybe there are some things that you did know, and you've got to discuss these things with a partner. You've got to discuss these things, and maybe you don't have to discuss them. I do feel like you have to discuss them. I feel like it is something about the family, and it is some negative news. It's something that doesn't make you feel happy inside, because you've got the Knight of Swords in reverse. So it's some negative actions, it's some negative words and some arguments that have happened that have really kind of turned the family upside down, or have, I don't want to say have torn apart the family, because I think there's a chance to repair this if there can be some trust and all of the secrets come out into the open. Taurus, there's some information that you need to communicate to someone about the truth, or that needs to be communicated to you, so you can understand why you're feeling this confusion, so you can understand why you don't know which way to go and you don't know what to do when it comes to this family dynamic and these partnerships, maybe even something from the past, as we see with the Six of Cups card in reverse, so that you can find some emotional stability, deal with your emotions, overcome the situation, be really emotionally grounded, which Taurus says you guys are very logical people. You're very, you're usually emotionally stable. You don't always show your emotions, but you deal with them. You're a practical sign, so that you can sort of leave it behind and go forward with this new path and this new path, and kind of let go and just walk out on faith, or have faith, or go in a new direction, or do something totally new and have this new beginning. But it's going to take for you to deal with whatever negativity comes out, whether it's something that you have to bring to someone else about a relationship, a family dynamic with this Ten of Cups in reverse, something having to do with a relationship, family dynamics, some sort of relationships, which is really funny because the astrology is really tying into these cards. You know what I mean? I laid the cards before I recorded, so I don't have to take time doing that, but I don't really put my thought into it and start talking about what's on the table in the astrology. And then it's really funny how I just talk. I haven't thought about the astrology. I know where it's going to land for those that are Taurus rising, so I just go into it, and then to look and to start talking about these cards on the table, it's amazing to me how it ties in. So there's some really deep introspective about some secrets, about some things that you have not told or have not voiced when it comes to your past. Maybe you haven't told a current partner some things about your past, maybe some breakups or some separation. Maybe you're going to divulge some information that may cause a breakup or separation. Maybe it's going to cause a rift. Maybe it's somebody or something from your past that you're really thinking about and trying to work some things out so that you can have more trust in your current relationships. Maybe there are some things going on where your current partner has done some things that you may know about, and they may not know about you. They may not know that you know about, and it involves trust and some secrecy and some things that have happened. But there's been some negative actions, or there's been something that's been sort of reckless, sort of uncaring. Maybe you've had some reckless actions. Some reckless actions that kind of tore the family apart, or turned the family dynamics upside down, or sort of ruined a relationship because of decisions and making bad choices and decisions and not knowing which way to go. and that caused you some stress and some strife, and something was done unfairly and unequally in a past relationship or a family dynamic. And when I say relationships, I just want everybody to understand that's relationships overall. It doesn't necessarily have to be a love relationship, but I am seeing emotions on the table, and I am seeing it being about love relationships. So Taurus, you guys could be dealing with a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Specifically, you could be dealing with somebody who is a Pisces, sun, moon, or rising, or they have Pisces very strongly in their chart. And water signs come through very heavy in this reading because you have the High Priestess. Some people say it's Scorpio. Some people say it's Cancer. Some people say it's Pisces. It is definitely one of the three. You can even see the moon on the card, the moon on the two pillars. I'm a Cancer, so a lot of times I do relate this to a Cancer. And just because I'm looking this up, you have the Queen of Cups in reverse. And then you have a Three of Pentacles in reverse. I'm just going through the deck. Then you have the Two of Swords in reverse. Then you have the Three of Swords in reverse. Bad decisions. Triplicity. A three-way relationship. Taurus, you either were or you're dealing with more than one person. You had to make some decisions. You made some decisions in this three-way, in this love triangle. It's been very difficult and very stressful. A lot of hard work down the drain. People wanting to walk away. People not being happy. Nobody really wins. Water sign in reverse. Again, the water sign there. So I definitely feel like you guys were dealing with some water signs. And then some secrets and some things that somebody's holding on to that haven't been divulged or that's been talked about. The Taurus has really been going deep. And if you haven't been going deep and really been thinking about this, it's going to hit you, Taurus. It's definitely going to come up with the Jupiter and Scorpio energy, especially with Jupiter being the natural, not the natural ruler, but the original ruler of the sign Pisces. There's a lot going on between the dynamic of Taurus and the Neptune Pisces, lost in thought, deep in emotion, caught in a dream world, trying to decide between what's real and what's not real. I feel like that is really what this hangman is talking about, and really what the Taurus is going through, and then reflecting back on how that really affects you and who you are and the character of who you are and the things that you've been through and who you want to be. Who you want to be going forward, strong on an emotional level, making good, fair, loving, emotional decisions, being honest and trustworthy so that you can have new beginnings and abundance and good things come to you through a whole new beginning and in a whole new path that you're going down in your life. And I really feel like a lot of that has to do with either separating yourself from something in your past, separating yourself. I feel like it's really separation, from negative thoughts and negative energies and disappointing things and these things that you're going to go deep on a really spiritual nature, because Jupiter is spirit. Scorpio is all about being deep, going very, very deep into emotions and being tough enough to handle that. And that's your opposite sign. So it's going to be a big year for you, Taurus, and definitely a big, a significant end of the year as we go into 2018, for you to try to really make some sense of things so that you can learn to trust yourself and trust others at the same time that you're trusting yourself. And you may even get a negative news when it comes to a new beginning, because we do have this Knight of Swords over top of the Ace of Wands. So Taurus, I would just say watch for making negative decisions. Watch for being the Knight of Swords in reverse speaks to someone who does not care about others' emotions, other feelings. It speaks to a playboy, like you can say with the Knight of Wands in reverse. It speaks to but not so much of a playboy, more of like a gigolo, with that Knight of Swords in reverse. Somebody who just goes around and their main purpose in life is to use others, and they're very self-centered with that Knight of Swords in reverse, and they don't have any issue breaking up happy homes or turning people upside down or turning their feelings upside down. It doesn't have any care for that Knight of Swords in reverse. But you're really going to watch out for that, because Jupiter is going to bring you positive if you have positive going on. If there's a lot of negative going on, Jupiter has the habit of expanding what is going on. So if it's negative behavior and there are issues that you haven't resolved, you may find from your past, there are negative habits and behaviors from your past that you haven't resolved, even if it's coming from you or the family dynamic or however this energy is playing out, negative emotions that you haven't resolved, that you may need to talk to someone about and get certain help with. This is a 3-person card here, almost like it reminds me of a Libra card in the Rider-Waite. Even though this is a Pinnacle card because it's dealing with tangible earth things, material things, it's also about judgment and fairness. On the Rider-Waite, the guy holds the scales in his hand. So it's a karmic card as well. Getting what you earn, getting what you deserve. So you're going to find with Scorpio detests lies, Scorpio detests dishonesty, and Scorpio detests unloyal people and situations. And Scorpio is a very vengeful sign, as you know, because we all, I believe, our opposite signs all reflect a shadow side of ourselves. So whatever your opposite sign is, that's the shadow sign of you. That is you looking in the mirror and the side of yourself. There are differences, and then there's a side of yourself that does reflect back in the mirror. So I'm going into this month of Scorpio, there's going to be a need to be very, very honest, to go within yourself and be very honest. Whatever knowledge this high priestess has or this high priestess knows, you've been holding on to it for a while, or it's been hidden to you for a while, but it's going to come out, and it's not positive with the Knight of Swords in reverse and the Ten of Cups in reverse. And it may have a lot to do with sexuality, new beginnings, creative sort of things, movement, actions that have been taken. The Wands card, the Ace of Wands, is all about action. Action, things happening, a move being made. But after all of this, after all of it, it's going to lead you to go from the Two of Wands in reverse. So really being upside down about choices you made and making bad decisions, or not being able to move ahead or know which way to go, and how to sort of what actions to take to clear up the fog and release whatever the high priestess and the hangman know or are hanging on to. In the end of it all, you're going to be able to transform and go a new direction and have a new beginning and do something totally out of the box, and just have a clear mind to not let anything from your past hold you back. So it's going to be a lot about introspective thought, releasing that, coming to grips with that. If you have to separate yourself from people, relationships, family dynamics, you're going to have to do that so that you can, again, believe in yourself, trust yourself, and trust others after you find a very, very deep spiritual understanding and knowing. And when this information comes out, and it comes out, it may hurt people. It may hurt you, but it's going to lead to new beginnings. And you being transformed like the phoenix rising from the ashes, which is what Scorpio completely represents. Scorpio is all the way. Scorpio is absolutely about transformation from a deep, deep place of going through things, through a struggle, through a very deep realization and inner struggle with self. It comes out transformed, and because of what it's gone through. I mean, Scorpio is the depths of the depths. It is I would say I would, not because I'm a water sign, but I would say the water signs are some of the deepest signs, or those. You don't have to be a water sun, rising, or moon, but having different placements in the water signs, having heavy energy, a lot of planets in the water signs, makes an individual very deep. And Scorpio is definitely very deep. And Scorpio deals with things on a very, very deep emotional level, and they really become transformed they have the power to transform, and through whatever hardships and difficulties they go through, become that phoenix that has rose from the ashes. So Taurus, I wish you guys the best. You can email me at tarothelpnow@gmail.com if you have any questions, or you can put your comments below, or if you want to ask about a free reading, and if you want to do a paid reading that's turned around just like that and goes a bit more in depth, taking into consideration your birth chart and the transits that are going on and the tarot cards, then you can visit my website at the link below. I thank you very much. I wish Taurus is the best. This is going to be a big time and a big year for you with Jupiter going into Scorpio, and I want you guys to come back and tell me about it. Peace, Taurus.